Shalom. First, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Hakadash. Double honor to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, from whom I learned this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 elect. I am Maya Gala. I'm going to go right into St. John, chapter 1. And I'm going to read down a little. But it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the Most High, and the Word was the Most High. It says, the same was in the beginning with the Most High. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And that's what I'm stressing in that verse, was in him was life, and the life was the light of men. It says, and the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. And that's what this world is. This world is full of darkness, and it doesn't understand the light. Yahawashi is that light. Verse 6 says, there was a man sent from the Most High, whose name was John. The same came for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. Now, I'm going to look at a couple words in these verses that I read here, because, like I said, Yahawashi is that light. And you can see here in this first verse, it says, in the beginning was the Word. Look at the word word. It's the W is capitalized, so it's talking about Yahawashi. He is the Word. He is this scripture. He is the Bible. Let me go to Hebrews, and I'm going to come back to that, because I'm not done with that. But I want to go over to the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, and I'm going to read verse 4. It says, for it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins. Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me. In burnt offerings and in sacrifices for sin thou hast had no pleasure. Then said I, lo, I come. And in parentheses it says, in the volume of the book it is written of me. Now we know what's written in the parentheses. We know that that's been added, but it is still stressing that it says, in the volume of the book it is written of me. It says, to do thy will, O Most High. So even if we were to take those parentheses out, it was written in those parentheses out, verse 7 still says, then said I, lo, I come to do thy will, O Most High. So this shows that this word, these scriptures, Yahawashi, is throughout these scriptures from the beginning even until the end. Verse 8, it says, above, when he said sacrifice and offering for sin thou wouldest not, neither hadst pleasure therein, which are offered of the law. Then said he, lo, I come to do thy will, O Most High. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. So in the first covenant, even though according to the law of Moses, were sacrificed, our ancestors were sacrificing animals forgive atonement for their sins. It says, verse 8 says above, when he said sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings and offering for sin, thou wouldest not, neither hadst pleasure therein, which are offered by the law. Says then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O Most High. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. And in the second, in the New Testament, we see that sacrifice is Yahawashi himself. His blood is what was sacrificed, that he may save his people. All right. So I'm gonna go back. I just wanted to show that, but to show that this whole Bible, all the scripture, Yahawashi is throughout the scripture. He is that light. Back into John chapter 1. So we see that word, the word is capitalized, the W is capitalized because it is referring to Yahawashi. He is the word. He is that living word, and he was there in the beginning. And he took the instruction given to him by Yahweh and put everything into creation. He created, Yahawashi created it all from the instruction given to him from Yahweh. It says, I wanted to drop down. Verse 5 says, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Jumping down to verse 7, it says, the same came for a witness to bear witness of the light. So John the Baptist came to announce the coming of the light. And in this verse, you can see the L is capitalized because it is talking about Yahawashi. He is the light that would come into the world, but the world being dark and is wicked comprehended him not. It understood him not. Sorry, so it's showing that Yahawashi is the light. You see that L is capitalized. In verse 8, he was not that light, but he was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. He is, Yahawashi is that light. And I'm kind of stressing that he is that light because, and I'll tell you why, because, and this isn't a testimony of a dream that I had, but I did have a dream this morning, and when I woke up, I was, and I'm even still was just kind of meditating on it because I was trying to get some understanding out of it. And I'll just tell you real quick what it was about. I was standing on an old street that I used to live on as a youth, and just out of nowhere, this and it didn't. I was trying to, like I said, I've been trying to kind of meditating on it, trying to get some understanding out of it because it really kind of just woke me up and made me just sit and meditate on it for a while. But I was standing outside, and then this huge light pole just came, kind of just hovering down the street. And when I looked at it, I didn't even look at it as if it was something strange. It was almost like it was a normal thing. But I looked at this light pole, and the light itself was on. But I followed this light pole, and I walked up to this light pole, and I said, because this pole is kind of hovering, it's kind of traveling, I want to climb up to it. So I climbed up on this light pole, and I climbed up to the very top of it, and I sat down once I got to the top on this light pole, and it was still moving, and it went on further down the street, and then all of a sudden it came to an area where it kind of stopped and just posted up at the I kind of went down the street and went around the corner. I mean, because like I said, with me growing up on this street as a youth, I was familiar with the area. So when it came to rest, it kind of after it finished hovering, it kind of just sat, and I was there still sitting on top of this light pole, and the light was on, and it was just shining bright, and I was able to just look out, and I was looking out over everything, over the area that it was lighting up. And then I said, all right, I'm gonna get down. I started to climb down, and then when I reached the bottom, I was walking around, and I said, well, let me just walk back around the corner to the house. And once I got down and reached the ground, I looked around, and my whole surrounding had changed. And I started trying to find my way back to the street that I lived on, but I couldn't go back to the street because the whole surrounding area had changed. So I kept walking around, and I'm trying to figure out why is this street gone? Why is this neighborhood? Why is this area different? And as I kept walking around, I saw people started to come outdoors. So I was still walking around. So I said, and this has been happening to me a lot, I said to myself, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and fly so I can get a better view. And I remember saying that to myself like it was no thing. I used to have dreams where that is what it consisted of, me flying. But I'm starting to have more and more dreams where that's not what the main topic of the main purpose of the dream was, just me flying. It seems like I have a lot of dreams where I may be dreaming and it's on a different subject or it's got a different theme to it, but then all of a sudden I'll be telling myself, all right, I'm gonna fly and go take care of whatever it is, or get to the area, or get to the next part of the dream so that I can continue on in the dream. But at this point, when I was walking around the neighborhood trying to find my way around, because like I said, everything had changed, I said, let me start flying so I can get a better, like a bird's eye view, and maybe I'll be able to find the street. But I started flying, and I went past a couple, as a matter of fact, it was a couple of women who were outside talking, and I flew over them, and I kind of stopped, was kind of hovering, and I was asking them where the street was. And they were kind of pointing, showing me in the direction where the street had gone to. But the strange thing is that when they looked at me, they didn't even ask me how it was that I was flying. They looked at me like, all right, he flying. That's what he do. And and as they answered me, I kind of thanked them, and I started flying. I kept on flying and kept on trying to find the street. And I flew around the area, found a couple of streets that I was familiar with, but I still didn't find the street. That I had come up on, that I grew up on as a youth. And as I was flying, I remember just flying around, and then at some point I woke up, and that's just the way the dream ended, with me still in the air flying around. And I really kind of zeroed in when I was meditating, thinking about this dream. I was kind of thinking about that light pole, how that light pole had just came hovering down the street, and how I wanted to just climb up onto that light. And I did kind of Google, why do I fly in my dreams? And then It gave me a few different areas, a few different reasons as to why a person might take flight in their dreams. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about that, because what I was really stressing about that dream was not so much as the flying, but I was kind of stressing that light, and how that light came and just took me away. And I wanted to just read that verse John, because or John chapter 1, that's what it kind of was putting me in the mindset of a Yahawashi being that light. And I just know how I have been feeling as of late. I mean, there's a lot of things going on in the world, and I'm just, not that I'm just weary, but I'm really just sick of this place. I'm tired of this place. I'm tired of the things that's going on. I'm tired of the wickedness. And I'm finding that really the only time that I'm feeling anything that is bringing me comfort is when I'm around with the brothers, and when I'm around and when we're out on the highways and byways. And it seems like as soon as that time is over, I go back into that feeling of, all right, just the mundane things that come along with getting through the week, and the things I'm finding, even that the things that used to bring me a little comfort, or bring me a little, I don't even want to say comfort, but to bring me just a little joy, that those things, they're just not doing it for me anymore. I mean, I'm really sick of this place, because there ain't nothing that I enjoy in it. It's just that I know that you have to keep moving on, and you have to stay in this word, and keep learning in this truth, and keep pushing forward in this truth. Salaki, I'm gonna go to Isaiah chapter 40, and I'm gonna start at verse 29. And it reads, "He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord Yahweh shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with the wings as eagles, and they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint." And that's what I've been feeling, kind of like a, not, I don't even want to say as a depression, because that's not it, but just a little weariness. And like I was just saying, just being sick of this place. All right, and I know that this is talking about that time after we have been delivered out of this place, because that's when we're going to feel that strength. And I don't know what power Yahweh Bahashim Yahawashi will bestow upon me in the kingdom, but that feeling of being able to take flight, and being able to have strength where you can just go on and on without feeling weirdness, without feeling that faint. That's what I'm longing for. The deliverance out of this place and out of this wicked ass world, because like I said, I'm tired of it. I'm praying that this new H virus, I'm just gonna put it that way, it might be the one that's gonna lead us to this next lockdown, because we know what another one is coming before they begin to really trying to push their agenda even further. They need some more world type of events to take place in order to keep creeping up and keep furthering their agenda. So I'm praying that this is the one that's going to take us and keep us and move us further on down the line to their next step in their agenda. Because like I said, I hate this place, and I'm patiently waiting for the deliverance, and I pray that I be one of those men who'll be delivered into the chariots in the day of the Lord. But even as not, just hastening the day where this wickedness will come to the end and a new kingdom, the kingdom of Yahawashi is going to reign forever. And Salakia for me just kind of being all over the place. But what I'm stressing is that at these times I'm finding comfort in the scripture, because Yahawashi is that light, that one that keeps us focused, that one that lights up the dark way, because it is dark times that we're in, and it's going to get worse before it gets worse. And I know that these are the beginning of those dark times. I'm going to go to John chapter 8. St. John chapter 8. Verse 12 says, Then spake Yahawashi again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. This is Yahawashi speaking in red letter. It says, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So I'm being selfish in this scripture, in this lesson, because I'm bringing out these scriptures for me to give me the strength, to give me the endurance to keep pushing on, because that's what we have to do. We have to first of all, we find comfort in these scriptures and the things that are written, things that are promised to us. So, Salakia, I know this is probably not the most exciting, but it's strengthening me, because I'm feeling that weirdness, feeling kind of run down. So, and me, I'm a novice in this thing, so I can only imagine what the elder apostles and the elders are feeling, of the great men of GMS, what they're feeling because of how long they have been in this walk, the things that they've had to endure and continue to endure. And I find strength in just looking at these men and praying that I'm able to endure to the end. And I just have a few more verses that I wanted to bring out, and that'll be the end of this. I didn't want this to go too long. I'm going to go back into the book of Isaiah, chapter 9. Verse 2 says, The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shine. And just like it's talking about in Psalm 23, this place that you call America that we live in, this is the shadow of death. because when you look around you, that's what you see. You see, you see death. You see things that are just that'll make you weary if you allow it to. You know, it's vexing. Just the things that you come upon, the things that you encounter, things when you go to the plantation that you have to endure. Second Corinthians chapter 4 verse 6 says, "For the Most High, who commanded the light to shine out of the darkness, has shined in our hearts meaning our minds, to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of the Most High in the face of Yahawashi HaMashiach." I'm going to read that in the NLT. It says, "For the Most High, who said, 'Let there be light in the darkness,' has made this light shine in our hearts, our minds, so we could know the glory of the Most High that is seen in the face of Yahawashi HaMashiach." So like I said, Yahawashi is that light. All right? And just knowing that he's going to come back and deliver his elect in the day of the Lord, take them out of this place and bring a new kingdom that's going to dwell on this earth, and it's going to reign, it's going to dwell forever, setting up a new rulership, a rulership that's going to be in righteousness, and all this wickedness that we see before us, that we have to encounter, that we have to endure, will be destroyed. All right, and the last place I'm going to go is 1 John. Chapter 2. I'm going to go down to verse 8. It says, "Again, a new commandment I write unto you, which thing is true in him and in you, because the darkness is past, and the true light now shineth. He that saith he is in the light, and hateth his brother, is in darkness even until now. He that loveth his brother abideth in light, and there is none occasion of stumbling in him. But he that hateth his brother is in darkness, and walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he goeth, because that darkness hath blinded his eyes." And like I said, Salakia, for me kind of being all over the place, but it's just a lot of things that's on my mind, and I find comfort in these scriptures. And I wanted to bring those verses out because, like I said, me being a novice in this truth, I may not always know how to express to my brothers that I love them and that I find great joy in their company and being around them. And I just wanted to bring that verse out because I don't always be the most verbal when I am amongst my brothers, but I pray that they at least if they don't hear this lesson, but I pray the Lord strengthen me to show that love and do what's required of me for my brothers. All right, but like I said, I didn't want to make this long, and Salakia for me being all over the place on this, but I'm going to end it here. I pray that this has been edifying to the listener. And I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh, Shalom.